Today on the Gold Standard.
The hourglass tip, Dave. Time's running out, but I would really urge people to play a lot of defense at this point, Dave, and more gold, in my opinion, is better. A lot of people out there who are listening have a lot of money in paper, bonds, stocks, dollars. I just think a good portion of that would be a lot better off in gold, as we've been talking about for a long time, Dave, but even more now than ever.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Deno. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group, and his peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Ken, as always, it is a pleasure to join you again this week.
Nice to be with you again, Dave, as always.
Our topic is 72 hours to save banks. And we're talking about this because most people do not know how close America came to a national bank system meltdown, a banking failure, within 72 hours of a major run on banks nationwide. If you will, tell us about it.
We're talking obviously about Silicon Valley Bank, or SVB as it's nicknamed, Dave. And the basic fact here is it's fractionalized banking system. And I hope people realize out there that banks do not have our money in their vault. For every dollar that we deposit, they create 9. So, I mean, that's pretty shocking in itself when you're working in such an unstable system. When we deposit $1 at the bank, the industry is able to create 9 out of thin air. But most of the money we deposit at the bank, Dave, it's either loaned out or invested in Wall Street. And a lot of these banks only keep a fraction of their depositors' cash on hand, which is shocking to a lot of people. Nowadays, bank runs, you know, the old pictures back in the 20s and the 30s with the Great Depression, Dave, and the other countries when there's bank runs that there's loads of lines outside the banks and stuff where people are trying to get in and get their money. You've seen those types of pictures, right?
I have.
Nowadays, with the internet and with everybody banking online, you can just send your deposits to another bank pretty much immediately. So what used to take a very long time to do a possible bank run is now in hours and in days. And that's really a lot, which contributed to the collapse of SVB Bank. Not to mention that our brilliant Treasury Department encouraged all of our banks to invest heavily in treasuries when interest rates were very low, knowing that the Federal Reserve was going to have to raise interest rates very aggressively to combat inflation. So all of these bonds now are underwater. So when people start to see some of these banks that have large bond investments on their balance sheets, they understand that these banks, it's just a matter of time before they have to realize huge losses. People don't even realize, Dave, that on the Federal Reserve Bank's balance sheet, they're sitting on over $1 trillion of an unrealized loss in some of these bonds that they were buying over the last couple of years because our country, for the financial system to work, depends on other people and other countries buying our bonds. And we've made it a point many, many times over the last couple of years that the Federal Reserve Bank was buying over 50% of the bonds from the United States over the last couple of years and putting them on their balance sheet because no other countries wanted to buy our bonds. Japan selling bonds, Russia sold all of our bonds years ago. China is getting out of our bonds. Other countries like Saudi Arabia are lightening up on our bonds because they see our dollar and our treasury notes as toxic. So when you have all this stuff going on, Dave, and you have banks failing, and it's not a isolated instance, and just today regional bank fears are spreading to PacWest Bank and Western Alliance, this is a whole system that's dying. So we're talking about our money that's dying. We're talking about a banking system that's dying. And what's the answer to all of this? Well, no worry, folks. The banking system's strong, and we can just print more money and make depositors whole. Well, I'm sorry, Dave. I cannot keep all of my money in a system that is that shaky and that shady. I need to put some of my money into something that is real money, something that has stood the test of time for thousands of years, something that will always be there, considering that we had a 72-hour period where they supposedly saved the banks nationwide from a bank run or eventual failure. Do people realize, Dave, that the banks that have already failed this year in assets are far greater than even the banks that failed in 2008? Do people realize that?
Wow.
But just the mere fact about the additional drag on the economy and the lack of trust in the banking system, the failures of the banks, it just validates, Dave, what we've been saying for quite some time now, is that the U.S. economy, the world economy, the financial system, the banking sector, the markets, it's all a house of cards, and it's all supported by fake money. And eventually, it's going to topple our financial system. That's the bottom line. It would make no sense, Dave, to keep all of your money in that type of a system. You have to diversify. You have to try and get part of your nest egg, whether it's an IRA or an old 401k or just some cash, into the only form of real money that's existed for thousands of years, something that doesn't rely on the promises of the government. And we all know that the promises that the government are making right now and the banking system don't hold water. And we can't trust it. So we have to do something about it. And one of the easiest things we can do, we can diversify with precious metals. That's what we talk about every week. Some gold coins, some gold bars, and some silver coins. They'll be there for when you need it. And based on the price of gold, it looks like it's going a lot higher over the next few years because the dollar is going so much lower.
A reminder here that you are listening to the Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And today, our topic is 72 hours to save banks. Ken, I personally know that the process of buying gold from you at Midas Gold Group is not complicated. It is just a matter of making a phone call and talking with your very helpful, and I must say very patient, gold buying experts. And if a person wants to roll over funds from an IRA or a 401k, designating the funds to be transferred and the signing of a few papers simply to open a gold IRA and transfer the funds, your people really make it easy. They did so for me.
Easy as we can, Dave. With gold, you're just moving assets from a paper dwindling asset out of a system that's dying into something that you could hold yourself, something that you know will always be there. Historically, it's doubled in price every 7 years since 1971. So if you feel like you need that sort of safety and that sort of defense, which I certainly believe we do, then gold and silver is a logical solution to what's going on right now in a variety of matters. We're talking about the banking system, but there's a lot of things going on right now politically and socially and in the markets that would support safety and defense. And there's a lot of confusion and chaos going on. There's no better time right now to be thinking about diversifying, and gold and silver has always supplied that role of being real money, Dave, and it'll be there for when you and your family need it. And that's a lot better than worrying about waking up tomorrow and your money at your brokerage account or your money at the IRA or the money in your checking or your savings is gone or frozen. In my opinion, it's a lot better to have some control, especially now.
We're going to continue our topic, 72 hours to save banks, a little bit later in the program, and we'll highlight several tangible ways you can convert your wealth into the security of gold. But first, a reminder that you are listening to the Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And coming up, we're going to look at a specific precious metal that you can use to safeguard your wealth. And that is coming up right after this.
Jen here with a warning. Groupthink can prevent you from seeing the obvious. In 2008, groupthink remained in denial when it was obvious that mortgage-backed securities filled with subprime loans were a house of cards. Midas Gold Group has been telling people the obvious for years. A system of currency built on debt is not stable. The market is not real. Most importantly, they've said that the banking system is unstable and treasuries are not risk-free. Abandon the groupthink of mainstream media and bankers and get a different perspective from Midas Gold Group. Wise diversification involves having wealth outside of the banking system. Call veteran-owned Midas Gold Group to look into safeguarding your wealth with the stability of gold. Gold traditionally holds its value when economies fail. Log on to MidasGoldGroup.com, or better yet, call them at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Midas Gold Group, gold you can hold, your vault of confidence. 855-322-GOLD.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno. And our topic today is 72 hours to save banks. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, you can actually come and visit us at our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and the directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, it's time for our precious metal spotlight of the week. And today, a gold coin that I have several of in my collection and that I never get tired of looking at. It is truly a work of art, the gold American Eagle, that features the iconic Walking Liberty design of Augusta St. Gaudens. Ken, tell us about it.
Well, Gold Eagle, Dave, is the preferred government-issued bullion coin of the American investors, most popular gold coin in the world. It's my favorite. It's a bedrock of gold collections or diversification or just your gold hoard. That's the way that I'd look at it. Just gives you the main principles and the main benefits of owning gold. It debuted, Dave, on the world stage in 1986. It's 22 karat gold. It does have an ounce of gold in it, but it just has a little silver and a little copper in it to make it more durable and strongly resistant to scratching. It's the largest gold coin struck by the U.S. Mint versus the Buffalo. And remember, folks, the Buffalo is 24 karat gold, which means there's no other alloy in the coin except gold. But the Eagle is guaranteed by the American government. It's legal tender. It weighs a bit over an ounce, Dave, because a troy ounce, because like I explained before, there is a little copper and a little silver in it, which gives it a rating of 22 karat gold. But in my opinion, pretty much at the top of the food chain when it comes to gold products.
I indicated that it features the Walking Liberty by Augusta St. Gaudens, but the backside or the reverse side of the coin, there actually now are two different designs, right?
Yeah, and remember, the Augusta St. Gaudens design was a gold coin, the $20 double eagle from 1907 to 1933, which was the $20 St. Gaudens, referred to as the most beautiful coin ever minted. So the Gold Eagle, Dave, has the same front. But right, you're right. The back has had two different designs since 1986, however many years that is. Coming up on 40, I would say, if my math is right, pretty soon, if we still exist or, have a financial system over the next 4 years, we'll have to see. The reverse side in 2021 came out with a Type 2 version, which has just a side profile of a American bald eagle's head. Very strong, very impressive. The older original version had a father eagle returning to his nest where a mother eagle protects her baby eaglets. And I like both of them. Some of the older coins obviously are a little bit higher in value because they don't make those type anymore. But either way, they're all in brilliant uncirculated condition. And in my opinion, a must for anyone who's looking to take some money out of some paper, Dave, and convert it into gold. The gold 1 ounce American Eagle, it does come in other fractional sizes as well, but the 1 ounce Gold Eagle is a foundational gold product for every single investor out there who's looking to diversify. This is a very simple, easy product to start with.
And is it eligible for a gold IRA?
It is, Dave. I mean, it's eligible for everything. You can take delivery of it. You could use non-qualified accounts to own Gold Eagles, or you have some old 401ks or existing IRAs. You can do a transfer into Gold Eagles. And as always, Dave, we here at Midas Gold Group, we're more than happy to advise prospective owners of gold on whether this coin or other coins or bars in this particular market are right for each individual investor. how much, what the process would be, potentially coming up with a plan for private delivery. And remember, folks, we are going to be entering a system of monitored banking system, monitored money. That's where we're all headed. For sure, we're headed towards digital currencies, and that's because it's going to be under surveillance and monitoring. The gold market does provide privacy. And when it comes to it, privacy is important, Dave. As a veteran-owned company, we fought for freedom, and now we fight for financial survival and financial privacy. And the gold American Eagle is a big part of that, Dave.
Ken, thank you so much. Coming up in a moment, we're going to continue our topic, 72 Hours to Save Banks, with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And that's coming up right after this.
Hey there, Grant here with a warning. With so many cracks showing up in the banking system and over $31 trillion in U.S. debt, just print more, you say. Argentina, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, all did that and defaults happened. But gold has never defaulted. Veteran-owned Midas Gold Group will reinforce your portfolio. Call them to look into safeguarding your wealth with the stability of gold while you still can. I trust them with my account. Gold traditionally holds its value when economies fail. Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and now Credit Suisse Bank. Midas Gold Group believes we are in the early stages of a systemic banking crisis, and the Fed's higher interest rates are your cue to create your own bank with real money. Gold. Log on to MidasGoldGroup.com, or better yet, call them at 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. Midas Gold Group. Gold you can hold. Your vault of confidence. 855-322-GOLD.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno, and our topic today is 72 Hours to Save Banks. As we have been saying, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, M-I-D-A-S, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Now, let's get back to our topic, 72 Hours to Save Banks. Ken, so far today we've talked about the reason for the American banking system's flirt with disaster and how the government had to step in to shore up several failing banks to preserve the entire system. And it used to be that our banks were considered to be among the strongest financial institutions in the land, but now we're getting reports that government agencies charged with oversight have been asleep at the wheel and were surprised at the crisis that suddenly developed. Now, I know that we do need to keep some money in the bank, as you indicated earlier, just for everyday living expenses. But you are recommending that we move our discretionary funds over into precious metals like gold and silver. And Ken, if you were a listener to today's program, how much of your own savings, either cash reserves or investments, how much would you feel safe in moving over into gold and silver?
Well, everybody's a little different, Dave. Everybody has a different situation. We talk to some clients that don't want to have any of their money invested in the markets, and they don't want to have any of their money invested in the banking system. So for somebody like that, I mean, they want to own a lot of gold. We have other clients that are different. We have other clients that are possibly younger, or maybe they need more money to live on. So they don't have the ability to just put much of their money into gold and just sock it away and just leave it there and let it collect dust. So it's different for everyone. I would say that right now, every single person should be considering up to 25 or possibly even 50% of their paper assets in gold, because things are that dangerous. But it's a conversation. It's a different plan for different people. And it starts with that call or that online inquiry, or sending an email. Visit the website, fill out a form, MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS. So that's where it starts. And the hourglass tip, Dave, time's running out, but I would really urge people to play a lot of defense at this point, Dave, and more gold, in my opinion, is better. A lot of people out there who are listening have a lot of money in paper, bonds, stocks, dollars. I just think a good portion of that would be a lot better off in gold, as we've been talking about for a long time, Dave, but even more now than ever.
Ken, that's a good warning that I think should drive us to the safe harbor of gold and silver. How do people buy the precious metal that they need? I mean, for some people, this is completely new. It's a completely unknown area. How do they go about doing this?
Well, once again, we're not buying gold, but if you have a checking account or you have a savings account and you want to move some of those assets by check or wire or cashier's check, very easy. We draw up a proposal, and those precious metals we deliver to clients, whether it be gold bars, coins, and silver as well. So if you have some liquid cash, non-qualified accounts, very easy to convert those from paper to precious metals. If you have an old 401k or an existing IRA and you want to do a portion or all of a rollover or a potential transfer of some of those accounts into a gold IRA, and instead of having your investments tied to paper or mutual funds or bonds or stuff you really don't understand, annuities, and you say, well, I'd like to have some or all of my retirement accounts in gold and in silver, we could arrange that as well through a transfer form or through a rollover form that your particular plan may provide. So once again, Dave, the listeners, it's a call, it's a conversation, it's a relationship, it's a process, but time's running out. Bottom line, we got to get that process started now. Make these decisions before things fall apart, because once it falls apart, it's too late. And once gold is at $5,000 someday, it's too late. So I would just say, try and make those decisions now. They're important decisions. They're hard decisions. But believe me, folks, in the long run, you're going to be glad you have gold, especially when the system fails and our dollar continues to dwindle in value. For those who have gold and silver, they're going to be awfully glad that they did it.
I got to say, from experience, Ken, that either way, whether you are converting into physical gold to hold yourself, which is a great thing to do, or you're moving some of your investments, or maybe even all of them, over into a gold IRA, you make the necessary transfers. You're able to make them quickly and securely, and I can attest to that on a personal basis. And they can find out more, our listeners, they can find out more by simply calling Midas Gold Group, right?
That's what we do, Dave. Traders are available 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. Leave a message if someone's not available to talk live, but, we'll call people back. We do a great job of that. And I would just encourage people to get on it, either through a phone call, through an email. They could always go to our site, fill out a pop-up form, no obligation, no pushy salesman, no high pressure, but something that's real important. And I would urge people to get on that today if they already haven't started. And if you want to do some business with some reliable people, veteran-owned company, give us a call and let's get that conversation started, and let's get some assets moved from paper into some gold that you could hold on to. Nice to be with you as always.
I'm Dave Deno. Come and join us again next week at this same time for another edition of The Gold Standard on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. And a reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. Also, the Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Hey, Ken, thank you again for your time today.
Nice to be with you as always, Dave.
I'm Dave Deno. Come and join us again next week at this same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.